To reconvene this meeting of the West Windsor Township Council for April 29th. We have heard the statement of adequate notice, so please join me for the salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Gay, will you call the roll?
Jeevers. Here. Hamilton.
Yes.
Miller.
Yep.
Zhang.
Okay, we do have a ceremonial matter. We have the mayor's State of the Township address. Mayor?
Thank you all for coming. I don't like making speeches, so I tried to keep this address a low-key affair. I guess some of you found out anyway, and I know some of you were bribed. When I came to this country in 1984, Ronald Reagan was president, Mr. Stanley Perrine was mayor of West Windsor, and I had a full head of hair. Over the next 10 years, I moved to various cities and states before finally settling down in West Windsor in 1994. As I got involved in local issues, one thing I found most impressive is how the township is run by volunteers. From the Affordable Housing Committee to the Zoning Board of Adjustment, a lot of work gets done by volunteers. Every year in January, we attend the annual Volunteer Firefighters Dinner. At the dinner, my wife every year reminds me that these are the people who do real work. You as mayor only talk. Today, it's my great pleasure to recognize one such individual who has worked quietly to leave his mark on West Windsor. In 1980, a young man came to then Mayor Carol Besky to check whether he could get sewer service for his own house. Like all good politicians, the mayor requested the young man to look into the possibility. For the next 38 years, Bob Bartolini worked diligently at the task. He has worked as West Windsor's sole representative to the Stony Brook Regional Sewerage Authority. During this time, he has served in various capacities as chairman of the construction committee, vice chair of authority, and then the chair of authority from February 18, 1997 until his retirement last year on December 31st, 2018. And I didn't want to deal with sewer, so trust me, I tried to bribe him. Everyone in West Windsor who has public sewer system can thank Bob for his selfless service over the past 38 years, and at least 10 years before that in various other capacities. It is no exaggeration to state that Bob Bartolini is one of the few individuals who has been responsible for West Windsor's sewer system since the township's founding in 1797. Bob, I would like to thank you on behalf of all the mayors, council members, and residents of West Windsor for an amazing job you have done for the township. Many residents of West Windsor may not know your name, but almost everyone is touched by the work you have done. I have a proclamation to honor your great service to the township. This says all the things that he did over the last 50 years. And to keep it to one page, we had to cut out more than half of them. Trust me. But thank you very much.
Yeah. I'm just going to say a couple words. First, I came to this township in 1968, and I had black hair. And my family moved in here. I moved in here with my wife, Janice, and our oldest daughter, Jill, who's here. And over the years, this is my children and my grandchildren, all here. And I have a son-in-law, and actually, one of the girlfriends, one of the grandsons. I have, besides Jill, who worked in this building for one summer, Ellen and Robin worked in and managed the Liquid Ice Cream store, for those of you that remember it, over there where the PNC Bank now is. So we've been embedded in this township for all these years. But the one last thing I just want to say is volunteers are really important. You said it exactly. We moved in, we were young, was looking for the volunteer to do some civic duty, and that was in 1970. So 50 years later, I thought it was time to retire. Thank you for all of this. And by the way, I want to thank everybody in the township who is now here and who I tried to think of names going back, and I decided it wasn't even worth it, because if I found out, the list would be too long. But a lot of them are in the audience here. I thank all of you, and keep this place what it is. It's a wonderful Shangri-La. Thank you.
Yeah, I had to wake up over the weekend to find out who the mayor was when he was appointed. Before retiring, Bob was gracious enough to train his replacement on the authority. And I hope the gentleman works long enough so future mayors don't have to think about sewer again. But let Bob's experience be a lesson to everyone. Never approach the mayor with a problem unless you are willing to spend next 38 years working on it. On a more serious note, I would like to thank all volunteers who make West Windsor a great place to live. Those include the township appointed committees, plus those who serve in various other bodies, such as the West Windsor Bicycle and Pedestrian Alliance, the Friends of West Windsor Open Space, the Arts Council, the Farmers Markets, and many others. As I sat down to write this speech over the weekend, I had hundreds of ideas I wanted to talk about. However, when Council President Miller found out about the speech, she called me over the weekend with a compliment. Allison said, she likes my brevity. That was a nice way of telling me shut up quickly. So first a quick recap of last year, and I'll oblige her because she controls the gavel. As promised, we settled with the Fair Share Housing Center on our affordable housing obligation without requiring any housing on Howard Hughes' property. Our compliance hearing with Judge Jacobson is scheduled for next week, and we fully expect our plan to pass. The court also dismissed 3 out of 5 counts of the Howard Hughes lawsuit against us. We will aggressively defend against the remaining 2 counts. We continue our aggressive purchase of open space. In particular, we condemned and purchased the Hall Farm along Village Road, which prevented over 400 townhouses from being built on the property. With council's help, and they were very helpful, we also fashioned an affordable housing plan to prevent an entire development of about 500 homes from being built. We'll continue our approach of purchasing available open space to minimize housing development. This will also protect the environment and provide for future recreational needs of West Windsor residents. This year, we have upgraded our permitting and inspection department to a new computer system. Within the next few months, you will be able to apply for and review your permit status online. That's one of the most often complaints I get. The department continues to be busy, and that's why you're not getting your approval soon, with new application, and once again, generated over $2 million in UCC, Uniform Construction Code revenue, for the township last year. My insistence last year on honest budgeting resulted in over $600,000 surplus. We have recovered the last 4 years' worth of drawdown of our surplus. We will continue this honest budgeting approach in the budget the council will adopt tonight. This is the first year the SPRAB was replaced by the Technical Review Committee. The first few applications under the new system are progressing well through the pipeline. One piece of unfinished business from last year. I had proposed that we use the township-owned land near the municipal complex to build an indoor sports facility for the residents of West Windsor. Due to other commitments, mainly the affordable housing issues, I didn't get a chance to move the project forward. I do hope to get started this year. This year, I would like to propose 2 new projects that I intend to finish this year. A few years back, when I opposed the solar farm on township-owned property, I was criticized as being an anti-environment. The best environmental policy is to make the most efficient use of all resources, time, money, and space. As someone cares about the environment, I will also always pursue that policy. I want to thank Mr. Hammerly, I didn't see you come in, a township resident who has been quietly working with me on various solar projects for the last 2 years. When I became mayor, I realized that half the solar system that we had installed on the senior center was not working. Through his persistent effort and hard work, we finally got the system restored last week. It's fully functional now. In keeping with my motto of most efficient use of all resources, I am proposing to issue an RFP to install solar panels on the land behind the Princeton Junction Volunteer Fire Company building. Since the township owns both the land and the building, it will have to enter into an agreement with the developer. The system will be a power purchase agreement costing nothing to the West Windsor taxpayers. The Volunteer Fire Company will benefit with the lower electricity bills. It will also preserve the prime land for better use. Thanks to Dan Dobromeski and Mr. Hammerly, we have already established feasibility of such a system. And we'll work on an RFP and hope to issue it within next month or so. Although the township doesn't own the West Windsor Volunteer Fire Company building, I continue to encourage them to consider such a system, and they are also working on one such. I feel West Windsor often doesn't get the credit it deserves. That's why last year I was excited to welcome Urtech, a biotech company working on the cutting edge of science, to West Windsor. Their ultra-modern facility is complete, and they hope to hold a grand opening in another month. They will develop individualized medicine for such hard-to-treat diseases such as pancreatic cancer. I hope it is only first of many such companies opening their offices in West Windsor. Today, I am excited to announce a partnership with Maxter, a digital newsstand whose founder and president, Vijay Radhakrishnan, is a resident of West Windsor. In simple terms, Maxter is the Netflix of magazines and newspapers. As a member, you have unlimited access to their content. Maxter can do one better than Netflix in allowing access based on geofence, or in simple terms, based on where you are located, rather than membership with username and password. Thanks to the generosity of Mr. Radhakrishnan, everyone within West Windsor's boundary will have free access to Maxter content for 1 year. Thus, West Windsor will become the first city in the US, or probably the world, to be called a smart reading city, where you can read for free as long as you are within our geographical boundary. The township will enter into a memorandum of understanding with Maxter, but it will not cost the West Windsor taxpayer a single penny. The service will be available shortly as soon as we sign the memorandum. So I want to thank Mr. Radhakrishnan for pursuing that. West Windsor is fortunate to have residents such as these. I hope companies trying to relocate to New Jersey will realize where the real action is. It is in West Windsor. And finally, 2018 was the first year for West Windsor Gives Back, my concept to raise funds for local charity. Thanks to generosity of sponsors and township residents, the Mayor's Ball was a sold-out event. We raised over $35,000 to purchase drones for the West Windsor Police Department. I was happy to observe their positive impact during a township event. They are not fully operational yet, but I promise to keep the council and the residents informed about their use as they do become operational. This year's recipient of West Windsor Gives Back is the Princeton Junction Volunteer Fire Department. The hard-working volunteers of the West Windsor Gives Back and the volunteer fire departments are already off to a great start. As already announced, the next year's beneficiary of the Mayor's Ball will be the West Windsor Arts Council, and the 2021 recipient will be the West Windsor Volunteer Fire Company on South Mill Road, which will be celebrating their 100th anniversary in 2021. They have 50 years over you. When the West Windsor Gives Back fundraisers reach out to you, please be generous. Remember that charitable contributions are not capped and fully tax deductible. That's your chance to get back at IRS and Mr. Trump. For the past 25 years, West Windsor has been a perfect place to raise my family. The New Jersey Family magazine just named West Windsor as the best town for families in Mercer County and the 6th best out of 512 in the state. We all already knew that. It's good that other people recognize it. Let us all work together to keep it that way. And thanks for coming.
The next thing on the agenda is public comment, but if people want to leave, since all the important things have been said, we're going to give you a few minutes to empty out the room. Bob?
Bob.
We want to get a picture with the council.
Okay.
Mike, you're on.
Am I on? Good for something.
Oh, we gotta turn.
Okay, is anybody signed up?
Yep, Mr. Hinsdale is first on our list tonight.
Hi there, John Hinsdale, 38 Quaker Road. After taking office in January 2018, our mayor, Hema Marathe, announced the creation of an organization called West Windsor Gives Back for the purpose of soliciting charity money.
Just a sec. Shh.
My time is running?
No. You're good.
Keep going.
For the purpose of soliciting charity money at fancy events to buy one or more vehicles for the township. It's just obscene that the mayor solicits charity money to buy township vehicles we can already well afford. There's really no other word. Every donor dollar diverted by the mayor for his precious vehicles is a dollar that will not go toward assisting hungry or homeless families, helping struggling veterans get back on their feet, finding cures for cancer or AIDS, supporting underfunded arts projects or faith-based programs, or hundreds of other truly charitable purposes. Apparently, fattening the township's coffers is more important to the mayor. Is this shamefully misplaced priority really that of the township? I hope not. And does the township even get the money? 3 weeks ago, the township reported having no record of receiving from West Windsor Gives Back any money, vehicles, or any item of value during the entire year 2018, nor the first 3 months of 2019. Anyone who, in good faith, gave money last year for his fancy mayor's ball may wish to ask Mayor Marate, where did that money go? Did you keep any of it for yourself? West Windsor Gives Back has no IRS tax ID, no registered officers, no financials normally published by a legitimate charity by law. I mean, what the hell is this thing that the mayor has created? In order to provide us taxpayers with shelter from moral and legal liability, this council should pass a resolution authorizing the return to West Windsor Gives Back of any money or the dollar equivalent of any items of value, that is, if in fact anything was ever actually received, so that those funds can be put to truly charitable use while spending our tax dollars, as usual, to buy whatever the township needs to operate. We are perfectly capable of paying our bills here in West Windsor. We are not poor. We do not need to be stealing from the poor box.
Andrea Mandel.
Good evening. My name's Andrea Mandel, address 46 Ellsworth Drive, West Windsor. I'm Vice Chairperson of the West Windsor Environmental Commission and a member of the Planning Board. I'm speaking today on behalf of the Environmental Commission in support of Resolution 2019 R101. As most of you know, the Environmental Commission has been very busy working on the Sustainable Jersey 3-year recertification process, which is due for submission on June 2nd. The certification is not just about bragging rights for our township, but is a requirement for applications for various grants that allow us to do environmental projects for the people of our town. This has been a tremendous task, and I would particularly like to thank Allison Miller, our council president, for the help and support she's given us over these past 6 months. Allison has come to our meetings, has offered to schedule and shepherd resolutions, proclamations, or ordinances through council in a timely manner to ensure that we can meet our deadlines. We appreciate that she has been a true friend to the Commission as we go through this process. The purpose of this resolution is to provide the one mandatory requirement for the whole Sustainable Jersey submission, the reaffirmation of West Windsor Township's support for its green team. Yes, we all know that West Windsor has had an environmental commission with a green team for some time. But the Sustainable Jersey people know that priorities change and governmental bodies lose favor and fall by the wayside. By passing this resolution, we as a township renew our vows to maintain a strong environmental commission with a strong extended green team. I would like to thank both the mayor and council for their continued support for our team and environmental initiatives, and we've seen some new ones tonight, which makes me particularly happy. Thank you. This resolution also establishes the staff liaison, Dan Delbomilski, as the lead agent in the certification process. That title does not begin to describe it. We could not do this or a lot of other things without his dedication, organization, and help. We're incredibly thankful he has added Sustainable Jersey to his many hats. This is not the end of the process, so don't go anywhere. After the June 2nd submission, we'll receive feedback about a month later, and we'll have until early October to make any corrections and additions. So heads up, we may be back. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else signed up?
No, ma'am.
Is there anyone else who wishes to make a public comment?
Hello, Mark Pepper, 43 Providence Court. Initially, I'm here for, I'm a board member of the Capitol Philharmonic of New Jersey. I've been up here several times announcing upcoming events at the War Memorial in Trenton. We have one coming up this Saturday. It features students of West Windsor High School, including Joseph Shia, a student at West Windsor High School South. He's won numerous awards in national competitions, including the Global Music Partnership International Competition, and has recently performed as a soloist with the Philadelphia Orchestra. He's the featured soloist at this Saturday's concert. I urge everyone in West Windsor to buy tickets, attend the concert. It will show support for Mr. Shia, as well as other youth performers from the area. It also will show support for the city of Trenton, which is sorely needed. Part of what makes West Windsor such a great town is its great school district, and what makes its school district so great is its great music program, of which my children participated fully. So now that they're no longer there, I still continue to support the arts in any way I can. I also firmly believe that we all, as Mercer County residents, need to support Trenton. The orchestra won't be around much longer if we don't show up. There's a perception that it's not safe to go to Trenton. Well, that perception was blown out of the water yesterday, or Saturday night. There was a concert by a world-acclaimed conductor, Josh Dudamel, who conducted the Princeton Symphony Orchestra at the War Memorial. It was a sellout performance. Not everyone showed up. At least 2/3 of the auditorium was full, but apparently it was free. So apparently if you get a free ticket, people deem it safe to attend. And it really is safe, whether it's free or you have to pay. There's ample parking there, well lit, secure, and so there's really no excuse not to show up. So I urge, please, there's plenty of seats left. I urge everyone to buy tickets and to come to the concert. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Anyone else wish to speak? Seeing nobody, administration comments.
I have two announcements. The first is this is an off week for yard waste collection. It's the 5th week of the month. Our crews will be in Zone 1 collecting next Monday, May 6th through the 10th. I'm also receiving complaints from residents about dumping yard waste and debris at the curb, either after the crews have come or placing it out way too early in a zone that is not scheduled for collection. And I would ask that residents please abide by the schedule. There's a reason for the schedule, and a lot of people want to maintain their property values and the curb appeal of their property. So I would ask for the residents' cooperation. The schedule for yard waste collection is online on the Township website. And then secondly, there will be a dumpster drop-off day. This is in coordination with Clean Communities of New Jersey. It will be held at the Department of Public Works on Saturday, May 18th, 2019, from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. This is an opportune time for West Windsor residents to drop off electronics. However, please do not place them in bags or boxes, to drop off yard debris, and to visit the shredding truck. All types of paper and manila folders with a limit of 10 boxes per individual will be taken, and this truck will be on site from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., but it usually fills up rather quickly. Other items that can be recycled at this location are propane tanks, tires, bicycles, appliances, furniture, electronics, wood fencing, metal, car batteries, and electric wire. It's a good opportunity for you to do spring cleaning and properly dispose of those items. That's all I have.
Thank you. Hima?
I just got my 10 minutes, but one quick note. The Project Freedom held their lottery in this room about a week ago, and they had over 426 applications. Just show that how desirable West Windsor community is, and we are very happy to welcome them to our town.
Thank you. Council member comments? Aisha?
Nothing from me, thanks.
Linda?
Well, thanks to Ron Slynn and the Shade Tree Commission for another wonderful Arbor Day celebration, which was this past Saturday. The National Arbor Day Foundation has awarded the township for 40 straight years the Tree City USA designation. So we're continuing with that tradition. Congratulations to the students who won prizes for their beautiful artwork. Thanks to High School South's a cappella group, First Edition, for their lovely singing, and the Boy Scouts Troops 40 and 66, and Girl Scout Troop 70056. So it was good to see our youngsters participating in these events. This morning I attended, along with Allison and Planning Board Chair Gene O'Brien, who's with us tonight, and it was a New Jersey League of Municipalities conference. It was like a 3-hour event on affordable housing and cannabis. So it's always good to go to these events because you hear from other mayors, other elected officials. As for affordable housing, apparently there was a comment made that there's doesn't seem to be a lot of pressure on the elected officials at the legislative level to get COA up and running. I've gone to several events, I've even testified, I've heard numerous elected officials over the past year get up and say, get COA reinstated or something like COA, but they just don't seem to be either listening or they don't care. So that's obviously a big issue, and we've spent a lot of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars over the past few years on affordable housing issues. So we'll see where that goes. The cannabis issue is still not known what, if any, bills would be posted for a vote. Here May, possibly June, then it could be after the election. Most of the people that I talk to, the expanding the medical marijuana, the medicinal marijuana is okay, and perhaps that's the first step. The state should work on getting the expansion of that, and then work on the recreational marijuana and the expungement. But I don't know. We'll see how where all this goes. But I think the township, West Windsor, should at some point have maybe a special meeting where we can just discuss that issue alone and get some feedback from our community.
Thank you. Wisey?
Hello, everybody. As an immigrant to this wonderful country who didn't really learn American history growing up, I tried to take every opportunity to learn about the American history. So I mentioned one thing last time, but I want to remind everybody one more time and also share some thought. One of the most significant and iconic events in American history is the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad, which happened in Utah on May 10th, which is like 11, 12 days away from now, in 1869. So this year it marks 150 years of celebration. So it will be a great celebration in Utah. I'm still debating if I would be able to take off and join that wonderful event. And by the way, the Utah State established a commission for that celebration. So I think I have two thoughts to share. One is that the American core value is fully exhibited or showed in this significant historical event, in that great things can happen with, number one, vision. They have a great vision to build this more than 1,800 miles Continental Railroad solely by hand with 6 years of effort. So it's a vision, but hardworking, of course, right? So by hand and dedication, innovation, and also collaboration. I think collaboration is the one thing I want to emphasize, which I want to share the second thought is collaboration, no matter where you're coming from. So there's lots of immigrants in this great effort, including Irish immigrants, freed African American slaves at the time, and also a lot of Chinese American or Chinese immigrants from the West Coast. So that shows the collaboration no matter where you're coming from, what's your ethnicity, background, or religions, or even political belief. If you believe the core value I mentioned above, we should be able to work together and build this great nation going forward. So thank you. And by the way, I encourage you, even if you cannot go to the event, maybe watch the TV and read the news and promote to your children if you can. Thank you.
Thank you. As Linda said, I was at the roundtable discussion of affordable housing and cannabis. With cannabis, there really are three parts of the process of getting it to people, whether we're talking medicinal or recreational. It has to be grown, and that's done indoors in New Jersey, and it has to be made into a product, and it has to be dispensed. And all of these are opportunities for development, for townships to have economic activity. And we have to be in front of it. We have to think about what we want in our township, what we don't want in our township, and I think that we will find out within the next 8 weeks whether the legislature is going to deal with this now or put it off, and we will have a conversation which will be different depending on how they act. This is a very important issue. Many people are benefiting from medical marijuana, and that should be extended to more people, and that means more growers and more creators of the product. As for affordable housing, I think that everybody there expressed, as Linda said, frustration with the fact that there is no COA, there is no organization that is trying to put affordable housing everywhere that is good for it in New Jersey with overweening thought. It's just in the court system, it's one township at a time, one region at a time, and people think that it should be not done that way. And I have great hopes that for the next round, which starts in 2025, it could be better. I have no hopes that anything will be changed before then. But we also learned that we're doing very well in West Windsor, and thanks, Jerry, and all our professionals. Compared to other people, we're in good shape. Gay, do you have anything to add?
I do. I wanted to acknowledge or talk about the West Windsor Township's annual Memorial Day Parade and Ceremony, which will be held May 27th, 2019. Lineup will be at West Windsor Plainsboro High School South at 10:30. We will kick off at 11, and then we will come here for a ceremony and some light refreshments.
And I forgot to mention, I also attended the Arbor Day ceremony with the mayor and Linda. It was the windiest Arbor Day ever. The flags were flapping like nobody's business. We were cold on one side and warm on the other. I don't think it's global warming, but it certainly was unusual. And
It's very windy.
I think that there were people who didn't make it because it was so windy. But the beautiful artwork that the children earned scholarship money for will be in this building if they're not already there,
It's in the hallway.
in the hallway. So anyone can come and take a look at it, and please do. So we then are up to public hearings on various ordinances.
2019-13, an ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank.
All right. Do I have a motion to adopt?
Public comment?
Yeah, you have to, there's a hearing.
Don't we have to do that first? Okay, public hearing first. Anyone want to make a public comment? John Church, okay.
I thought you forgot this year.
All right, no, I didn't forget. Thank you very much. John Church, 11 Princeton Place. A big surprise, I'm going to talk about the cap bank ordinance. I've done it for the last 10 years, and this is no exception. Actually, last year, I did support the cap bank ordinance, but this year, I think it's a little different. When the cap bank ordinance was introduced earlier this month, one council member asked if there would be any disadvantages in passing the ordinance. In this case, the ordinance this year would provide for an additional 1% increase in the appropriations budget over and above the 2.5% allowed this year by the state. I can address this question the same way I did at the previous meeting. It's often said that cap banks are a planning tool for the township to allow for any unforeseen expenses that may arise in connection with future budgets. But the flip side of this is that it's also a planning tool for our vendors, our bidders, our contractors, and in fact for everyone that the township pays. Parties who know that next year we will have access to funds over and above what might be actually needed would have that much less incentive to lower their asking prices. To take an example from ordinary life, and you've probably dealt with this thing many times, I would be ill-advised to tell a car dealer that I could take out an even larger loan because next year I would have access to more money than I have this year with which to pay off the loan. No sensible person would tip their hand that way. But in fact, when we do pass a cap bank ordinance, we are publicly advising all the people that we deal with that we could have more money next year than otherwise. Take that under consideration, please. Now, cap bank ordinances were turned down in 2011, 2014, and 2015, and there were no adverse effects either then or in the years that followed. This year, the extra 1% amounts to about $291,000, and it's not needed at all. Even without it, we would still be allowed about $1.25 million over and above our actual in-cap appropriation level. In fact, this year, we didn't even need the 2017 and 2018 cap banks. With no cap bank this year and no previous cap banks for those 2 years, we would still have had a cushion of more than $158,000 above our actual in-cap appropriations for this year. So the bottom line is, I don't support the ordinance this year. I did support it last year when I'm not going to always say yes or no, but I'll take it year by year. But this year, I really don't think we need it. So please take that into consideration with how you vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Move to close. Do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote?
Chevers?
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Zhang?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes. Do we have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Chevers?
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Zhang?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes. Okay, we're up to the municipal budget.
Good evening, everybody. I'd just like to give a brief overview of the budget that the council had deliberated on that is up for adoption this evening. Go ahead and flip it, Gay. The total budget comparison page. The total introduced municipal operating budget is $41,880,000. The operating expense portion is $27,385,973, or 65% of the total budget, which represents a 2.08% increase over last year. Salary and wages total $14,494,027, or 35% of the total budget, an increase of 4.3% over last year, which funds 169 full-time and multiple part-time and temporary employees. The budget increased by 2.83% compared to last year's $40,726,221. The department percentage to total budget. Next slide. Public safety continues to represent the largest portion of the municipal budget at 21.69%. This includes police, fire, and first aid services. Insurance costs comprise 13.5% of the budget, and that includes liability, worker compensation, employee benefits, and unemployment insurance. Statutory expenses, including Social Security, payroll expenses, the public employee and police and fire retirement systems, and the reserve for uncollected taxes represents 13.33% of the budget. Also representing 13.33% of the budget is the debt service of the budget, which includes principal and interest costs for capital projects, as well as the 5% down payment required for projects to be authorized in 2019. Annual service charges to the Stony Brook Regional Sewage Authority make up 7.74% of the budget. The Department of Public Works represents 5.62% of the budget, which includes road maintenance, snow removal services, and maintenance of the sanitary sewer system, parks, and open space facilities. Residential refuse and recycling collection and disposal represent 5.49% of the budget. The Department of Administration, which includes the Mayor's Office, the Office of the Business Administrator, the Division of Finance, which includes the Office of the Treasurer, Tax Assessor, and Collector, and the Buildings and Grounds budget represent 4.82% of the budget. Utility expenses, including electricity, natural gas, telephone, street lighting, water, gasoline, and postage, amount to 4.81% of the budget, and all other township departmental budgets, including community development, health and human services, clerk, township council, law, municipal court, and grants combined total 9.67% of the budget. That's the expense side. On the revenue side, the amount to be raised by taxation for municipal purposes is $25,375,876.75, representing nearly 61% of the revenue needed to support the 2019 municipal budget. Local revenues totaling $5,882,613, or 14% of the budget, include licenses, fees and permits, municipal court, fines and costs, interest and costs on taxes, interest on investments and deposits, revenue from sewer service charges, rent from post office lease, sewer connection fees, hotel occupancy tax, and the township's agreement with Developer Diversified for police services. The use of fund balance to support the budget in the amount of $4,150,000 denotes 9.91% of the budget. Energy tax receipts from the state of New Jersey remains flat since 2010 at $2,190,039 and are 5.23% of the budget. Other special items of revenue totaling $1,708,745.94 and 4% of the budget include Uniform Fire Safety Act revenue, reserve for township rental property, assessment trust fund, fund balance, general capital fund, fund balance, parking authority available surplus funds, other trust funds, reserve for municipal share of developers escrow, cable television franchise fees, parking authorities, mutual agreement fees, Princeton University agreement, and ambulatory service fees for third-party billing company. Uniform construction code fees at $1.3 million are 3.11% of the budget. Shared service agreements with the parking authority, Robbinsville Township, Hightstown Borough, and the West Windsor Regional School District total nearly $700,000 and are 1.67% of the budget. The receipt for delinquent taxes at $525,000 are 1.25% of the budget, and grants from the state of New Jersey for body armor for $4,867.94, and from Mercer County for a canine vehicle for $43,193.12, represent 0.11% of the budget. The overall municipal tax impact. As stated, the municipal tax levy is $25,375,876.75, which is a 1.2% increase over last year's tax levy. Total assessed valuation is $5,992,177,188, which is a slight decrease of 0.13%. The average residential assessment is $521,873. And with that information, we are right on the cusp of rounding. It will be up to the Mercer County tax administrator to determine whether our municipal tax rate is either going to be 0.5 cents or 0.6 cents at a total municipal rate of 0.423 or 0.424. It's right in the middle, and depending on what the school and the county pieces of the total tax will determine which one that is for us. But overall, the average residential household will pay $2,208 or $2,213, an increase of either $27 to $32. So we've adopted the cap ordinance. The next piece will be to open the public comment for budget purposes, close the public comment, and then the council can deliberate and hopefully adopt tonight, and then we'll be in the record books. So I would like to introduce Bill Antonides, our registered municipal accountant, who is here with me tonight and available to answer any council questions that may come up in the deliberations as you consider the adoption. So with that, I'll turn the meeting back to Council President, who can open the public hearing.
Thank you. Is there anyone who wishes to make a public comment on the municipal budget? Anyone? Any comment? I don't see anybody for the public hearing, so I think we need a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote?
Jeevers?
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Zhang?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes. Now we'll have a motion to adopt, and then we will have deliberation, and then we will vote.
So
So,
moved.
do I have a
Second.
Okay. Does anyone up on council have a question for any of our experts sitting in front of us?
No, but, we did just approve the cap bank, and one of the members of the public, thought it wasn't needed. So maybe you just want to make a comment on what would it be used? Like, would it just be in an emergency type of situation?
The cap bank just passed is for future councils to use. It is a planning tool. The deliberations that the administration and the council and the mayor go through every budget process determine what the budget's going to be. The restrictions of, those decisions are made apart from the cap calculation. What would happen in the future, and it's easy to look back on what the past was, but there is future of unknown. There were times when the director of division of local government increased the cap by 0. And then if the ordinance wasn't passed, that would mean you couldn't increase the budget. We don't know what the future lies for us, and there are future councils that may want to make decisions, and without this reserved money, it's not money that's being spent, it's just money that goes to a calculation in the future that allows the budget to increase. We could have all the money on the revenue side and be restricted by what budget can go up. And it just is prudent planning, and the state would not provide this as a vehicle if it wasn't financially responsible.
And it doesn't mean future councils have to use it.
They do not have to use it, as we did not use it today.
If I could make a brief comment, there's items in there such as the pension and health benefits where we really don't have control over it in-house. I mean, if we get hit with a major pension bill, that has to fit within these caps. And there's no exceptions for this stuff, so if we don't have these funds available, we could end up in trouble at some point down the line.
So it's very careful consideration of using those funds. It's not just at a whim. It would have to be
It has to be done on
very
an
specific
annual
purpose.
basis. You have to decide, if you're going to use it. As you can see in the past, we have not, this year, we did not use all the money we've banked in the past.
And we've gotten hit with large increases in healthcare costs, workers' comp claims, that kind of thing, it's good to have a safety buffer. It doesn't mean you have to use it.
Do you have a history at your fingertips of how often this council has used the cap bank?
Cap bank calculation is quite complicated, so
Not the cap bank. She's using, how many times have you gone over 2% to use the cap bank?
I don't have that readily available.
I know that I don't think it's been used very often, maybe once. I would have to look it up, and I don't have the 10 years before I was reelected.
Yeah, it will lapse if it's not used.
Yes,
But
and
if
it lasts,
But it's available if it needs to be used.
you said 2 years,
Correct.
and then it lapses. So we don't, it doesn't allow us to build and build and build and build an enormous amount of money.
Correct.
Any other comments? Roll call vote?
Jeevers?
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Zhang?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes. Okay, thank you. Next ordinance.
2019-14, an ordinance extending the affordability controls for an inclusionary development known as Windsor Haven.
Jerry, do you want to say anything briefly about this?
This is part of the program of extending the Windsor Haven controls. The extent the concept from the time that the controls were first put in place some time ago was that they would be extended, or if they were not extended and the units were sold at fair market value, that the town would capture that increase in profits rather than going to Windsor Haven residents. And that was clear from an ordinance which was adopted actually in 1985, which dealt with this subject. We have already extended the controls on 27 of the 37 Windsor Haven affordable units by virtue of 2 resolutions which were adopted previously on April 15. This is the third segment of that. It's for 10 units. The prior units were extended by virtue of instruments which were already in place and recorded. There aren't any for these 10 units for reasons which are inexplicable, frankly. They should have been put in place in the early 1990s, but were not. But the ordinance that I alluded to a moment ago permits the extension of those controls, and that's what this ordinance does.
Thank you. Anybody wish to speak in the public hearing on this ordinance? Seeing none, do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote?
Jeevers?
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Zhang?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes. Motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second.
Anybody want to say anything? Roll call vote?
Jeevers?
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Zhang?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes. We now have another ordinance.
2019-15, an ordinance amending the Code of the Township of West Windsor, 1999, by modifying the E-District affordable housing requirement.
The planning board made 2 tiny little changes to this. They changed residence to residences in the second line of the bold section and adding within West Windsor after location in the last sentence of section A2. So do we have a motion to accept the amendments made by the planning board?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote?
Jeevers?
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Zhang?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes. Now we will have the public hearing on the minimally amended ordinance.
And again, just for the record, there's no need to have this matter renoticed due to the de minimis nature of the change.
Yes. Anybody wish to speak in the public hearing? Seeing none, do we have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Jeevers?
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Zhang?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes. Motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second.
Jeevers?
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Zhang?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes. Okay. Consent agenda. Thank you for coming to the budget hearing.
Minutes, April 1st, 2019 closed session as amended, and April 1st, 2019 business session as amended. Bills and claims.
Anybody want to remove anything from the consent agenda? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Jeevers?
Yes.
Zhang?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes. Okay, recommendations from administration.
2019 R096, authorizing the insertion of a special item of revenue into the 2019 municipal budget from the State of New Jersey Division of Highway Safety, distracted driving crackdown, $5,500. 2019 R097, authorizing the affordable housing attorney to record 10 declarations with affordable housing controls for Windsor Haven dwelling units. 2019 R098, authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute the amended developers agreement with 400 steps. 2019 R099, authorizing the release of cash maintenance guarantee for public improvements for the project known as 19 Roswell Road, PB 06-01AM. 2019 R100, authorizing the release of the inspection fee balance for on-site improvements for the project known as 19 Roswell Road, PB 0601 AM. 2019 R101, authorizing Dan Dobramilski, the staff liaison to the Environmental Commission, to serve as the township's agent for the Sustainable Jersey Municipal Certification process. 2019 R102, authorizing the increase of $10,000 for John Curley LLC for legal services related to the real estate acquisition of the Hall property. 2019 R103, authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to reimburse costs in the amount of $50,000 to National Railroad Passenger Corporation for the project known as Duck Pond Run Sewer Interceptor Phase 2. 2019 R104, approving the affirmative marketing plan to be included in a supplemental appendix of the Township's Housing Element and Fair Share Plan. 2019 R105, approving ratification of the Memorandum of Understanding between the Township of West Windsor and the IAFF Local 3610 for the contract term of January 1, 2019 through December 31st, 2022.
Either of you want to pull anything from this? No. Okay. Can I have a motion to adopt R096 through R105?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Jeevers?
Yes.
Zhang?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes. Additional public comment? Seeing none, council reports. YZ.
Nothing to report for this period. I just want to have a quick comment about the budget process. This is the first time for me to go through the process. It's a learning process. I thank my colleagues and administration for the collaborative process.
Thank you. Linda?
And yes, also my thanks to Marlena, the mayor, Gay, all of the department heads who came before the council with reports of what the accomplishments were from the 2018 and what they hope to accomplish in 2019. So thank you all. The planning board met on April 17th and tabled until May 8th, meeting a reconsideration of a resolution of memorialization conditions for PB 18-01 Pamela Snitter. The board also reviewed ordinance 2019-15 in order to amend conditions in the E-District Affordable Housing. The council had referred this ordinance to the board for review and had two suggested changes, which were approved this evening by the council, and it has been approved, the ordinance.
Thank you. I have no reports, but I also would like to thank all of our municipal officials and all of the administration and the clerk and my colleagues, because the budget process went really, really smoothly this year, and I think everybody should feel good about that. Administration updates?
I don't have any this evening.
Mayor?
None.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
We're adjourned. Thank you. At 8:12. That's amazing.